Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Supreme Committee dealing with COVID-19 developments ban Hafta Eid prayers and group Eid celebrations. The Supreme Committee assigns Royal Oman Police to monitor the compliance of individuals and institutions with the decisions and impose fines and imprisonment for any violators. The Supreme Committee reopens new package of commercial and industrial activities and oblige all to wear face masks in workplaces, public places and public transportation. And the Ministry of Health announces the death of 3 residents and 193 new confirmed cases of COVID-19. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. The Supreme Committee dealing with COVID-19 developments held a meeting this morning headed by His Excellency Sayyid Hamoud bin Faisal Al Busaidi, Minister of Interior, and with the presence of its members at the General Diwan of the Ministry to follow up with the latest updates of the pandemic prevention procedures and limiting the spread of virus, in addition to deal with its impacts. On the advent of the blessed Eid al-Fitr, the committee forwards its sincere greetings and best wishes to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq of good health and happiness, and for the Omani, Arab and Islamic nations of further progress, welfare, security and stability. The committee praised the citizens and residents of adhering to the decisions taken to limit the spread of COVID-19 and urged all to further oblige to those decisions to protect the individuals and the community from this pandemic. The new decisions issued by the Supreme Committee to deal with COVID-19 include banning Eid-related gatherings such as Hafta Eid prayers, greetings, gatherings and group Eid celebrations due to their danger in spreading infection in the community. Royal Oman Police is assigned to monitor the compliance of individuals along with public and private institutions with the decisions of the Supreme Committee, and it is directly authorized to impose fines and imprisonment for all violators. Reopening a new package of commercial and industrial activities with the need to adhere to preventive measures, as the bodies concerned will announce the details of those activities. Oblige all to wear masks in public places, including commercial and industrial facilities, workplaces in both public and private sectors, as well as public transportation. The Ministry of Health announced the death of 3 residents, which makes the total COVID-19 deaths in the Sultanate to 25. The ministry stated that the age of the death cases are 46, 54 and 67 years old. It also announced 193 new confirmed cases that brings the total number registered in the Sultanate to 5,379. The Ministry of Health stressed that 1,496 cases have been recovered.
Within the efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19, the ministry advises all citizens and residents to keep on washing hands with water and soap. Avoid touching the face, nose, mouth and eyes. Follow hygienic habits when coughing and sneezing. Adhere strictly to social distancing instructions. Stay at home and not to go out unless absolutely necessary. Adhering to isolation and social distancing will prevent you, your family and the community from COVID-19. Stay safe.
At the time, Ministry of Health confirmed the availability of sufficient number of respirators. The Supreme Committee on COVID-19 decided to provide more respirators as a precaution. Meanwhile, Al Nahda Hospital has been dealing with the majority of corona cases from the Wilaya of Matrah. The emergency department at the hospital has been working around the clock to tend to COVID-19 patients. Sympathetic individuals are regraded from other patients to avoid potential spread of the virus. COVID-19 patients are required to advance treatment and care are transferred from Al Nahda Hospital to the Royal Hospital, where they are isolated in specialized intensive care units. Still to come in our news bulletin. Several countries ease lockdown by reopening restaurants, border crossings and educational institutions.
Non-compliance with the directives of the Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus COVID-19 exposes you to risk and legal action. Stay safe.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The COVID-19 pandemic has killed at least 315,270 people worldwide since it surfaced in China late last year. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the United States reached almost 1.49 million, with nearly 20,000 new cases reported in the last 24 hours and has recorded the most deaths at nearly 90,000. It is followed by Britain with 34,636, Italy with almost 32,000, France with 28,108 and Spain with 27,650. Russia reported almost 291,000 cases and the second highest tally in the world and 2,722 deaths. India has seen a rapid rise in coronavirus infections in recent days, with confirmed cases of around 96,000 and more than 3,000 deaths. The head of the World Health Organization said today an independent evaluation of the global coronavirus response would be launched as soon as possible, and China backed such a review. Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus made his promise during a virtual meeting of the World Health Organization decision-making body, the World Health Assembly, at which the Chinese President Xi Jinping defended its country's own handling of the crisis. U.S. President Donald Trump has fiercely questioned the World Health Organization's performance during the pandemic and led international criticism of China's handling of the early stages of the crisis. A resolution drafted by the European Union called for an independent evaluation of the World Health Organization's performance and appeared to have won consensus backing among the health body's 194 states. The WHO and most experts say the virus is believed to have emerged in a market selling wildlife in the central city of Wuhan late last year. 4 weeks after Denmark began easing its lockdown, Danes today returned to cafes and restaurants, confident that the coronavirus outbreak is under control. Denmark last month became the first country in Europe to reopen schools, daycare centers and smaller businesses. It did not see a subsequent rise in COVID-19 cases. Contrary to the French and Italians, Danes are less likely to hug and kiss as a form of greetings, which has also been a factor in limiting the spread. The health authorities on Friday reported no deaths for the first time since March 13th. Health experts said Denmark is very unlikely to be hit by a second wave of the COVID-19 infection that has so frackled 548 people. Denmark has a population of 5.8 million. Thousands of Romanians gathered at a reopened border crossing with Hungary after Romania eased its coronavirus lockdown. Large crowds waited at Nădlac to cross over by car or by foot. There was little sign of social distancing. Some of those waiting were heading west in search of jobs. Others were heading home from other European countries. For most people, the new coronavirus causes mild or moderate symptoms such as fever and cough that clear up in 2 to 3 weeks. But the virus is highly contagious and can be spread by those with mild, no visible symptoms. For some, especially older adults and some people with existing health problems, it can cause more severe illness, including pneumonia, and could lead to death. Hundreds of thousands of New Zealand children returned to school after 2 months of home education as part of a COVID-19 lockdown. Excited youngsters greeted classmates for the first time in 8 weeks, while teachers reinforced messages about social distancing and hand washing to combat the coronavirus. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's success containing coronavirus has driven an extraordinary popularity surge that has put the youthful leader on course for a landslide win in September's national election. Ardern's centre-left Labour Party was up to 14 points at 56.5%. A poll published today found with her rating as preferred Prime Minister surging 20.8 points to 59.5%. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Supreme Committee dealing with COVID-19 developments bans Hafta Eid prayers and group Eid celebrations. The Supreme Committee assigns Royal Oman Police to monitor the compliance of individuals and institutions and impose fines and imprisonment for any violators. The Supreme Committee reopens new package of commercial and industrial activities and oblige all to wear face masks in workplaces, public places and public transportation. And the Ministry of Health announces the death of 3 residents and 193 new confirmed cases of COVID-19. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.